What's going on, guys? So today, Jinx Week comes to an end. And here we have all of the HG Jinxes we've looked at so far, plus the Ogre Jinx out there, just for fair game. Because, well, honestly, it's like a little bit of all of these went into the thing that we're going to look at. So, even from the original Jinx to the Jinx 3. The two Jinx 3s, if I'm honest, I don't believe gave up any spare parts for this. But all four of those, plus the spare regular Jinx that I got, all came together to form my ultimate custom. Which we'll get to here. Okay, I'm messing with you just a little bit because obviously this is just the box from the Jinx that I got to build. So if you remember all the way back from when I did the in the kitchen with Shoky, I accidentally ordered two of these, so that's why I wanted to make a custom. I deviated a little bit from the initial design that I wanted to go from, but I kind of okay. I like the end result, so it's actually kind of the reverse of what I was going for. So in 3, 2, and 1. There it is. My custom GNXS. Yeah, it's a kind of a play on words. So it's a GNX with an S. S stands for Shoky, and also XS, as in it's a little too much. Because obviously we've got twin GN drives here. Not claiming that it is a true twin drive system like the 00, but it does have dual GN drives, and basically acting like this was like Ribbon's first attempt to make a twin drive thing work, although the Albatori had a whole bunch of different GN drives, but it never had a twin drive system. But basically, it has a normal GNX at its core, as you can tell by the uprights here, and then I've got GNX4 shoulder parts or chest parts here, regular GNX shoulders because I don't have the 4 shoulders. The GN drives are actually spare GN drives from a multitude of kits. I think I had five of them left over because you get them in a multitude of colors, so therefore you have spares. And then the shoulder parts are just where the normal shoulder receptacles would go, just really completely trimmed flat and glued to the GN drives and plugged in, so they can't be totally separate. The rifles are standard GNX rifles, but I had a spare, and I wanted them to be the long rifle because it's that much more powerful. It's long-range rifles. Each one plugs in and basically is powered by each GN drive on its own, so it is actually incredibly powerful. And it kind of still has the central GN drive too, if we want to go there, so it has something for operational purposes and something for powered up purposes. But anyways, I also have the twin shields, one here and one there. That's what twin means. I made a custom crotch piece right there, made from the standard GNX parts, and then these are actually the shoulder horns that normally go on there. Thought it just looked interesting. One of the coolest parts is actually the custom backpack, so that uses the side skirt thrusters up here, an entire crotch piece there. And one thing I definitely forgot to do was put a thruster in. I will do that after the fact, but I remembered it a little bit too late. And this thing is done in technically four colors. So we've got Gunship Gray, which you guys should know is one of my favorite grays. And that's all the frame and the weapons and stuff like that. So all of the knee parts, everything inside, the actual frame parts, everything inside the thrusters, and of course the backpack there was all done in that gray. And I feel like this camera is focusing like on the background. It's really hard to do this. And it actually has two different whites. It may not be showing up as well on camera as it does in person if I tilt it a little bit. So this part here is a racing white. So it's that kind of off whitish color. And then of course the GN drives. So you got racing white, also more racing white there. Same thing on the shields. You can probably see it better on the shields, in fact. But we've got racing white and then matte white. So I got matte white, and then most of the chest and stuff is matte white. You also get some matte white down here on the legs. because I went with this nice chrome yellow. It's actually a chromium yellow. It's actually using more aircraft and stuff like that than anything. But I really wanted to go with a yellow color scheme. Originally, this whole color scheme was flipped. The yellow was the main up top color, and the legs are going to be a multitude of whites. I decided to go this way. I just wanted to flip it because, as you can tell, looking at a lot of the other ones, for the most part, especially compared to a standard GNX, most of the color is located up top, and then you get the offset colors on the bottom. So I did it the other way, and here, as you can tell, the main difference between the two. So you can tell, obviously, mostly regular Jinx, but I just did custom touches. And the head is customized, as you can tell. There's a custom V-fin there. Actually, the only parts that didn't come from a GNX, those are actually the spare V-fin parts from the 00 Diver. You actually have the 00 parts left over, so that's actually the V-fin cut off there, the shorty parts. They're very short, and that was actually incredibly hard to make fit. It's actually about as clean as I could get it without having putty. And I did do a 3-tone job on the head. So the face and the V-fin are both matte white. The rest of the head is actually racing white, and then you got a yellow stripe going down the side and around the back of the head, just to break up the color. Also, I put a yellow bit back there for where the GN drive goes. So in reality, I could leave it to where it's a triple GN drive, not 2. So it's got the 2, one on each shoulder for powering the weapons, and then one down the middle for basic operation, but also why the thrusters are the way they are, because these are the main thrusters. So that's probably how it really goes. 3 GN drives, not just 2. Just looks like a twin drive. Now, one thing I have to be wary of is where the shoulders are going, because everything is kind of rubbing. And I wanted it to have a difference of look. Oh, I keep forgetting red. Red was going to be a little bit more prominent than it ended up being, but I got little red bits there. You see red stripes back there. That was a masking nightmare. Now, one thing that's going to be hard to tell, because the finish didn't come across as different as possible. This is racing white, and this is actually matte white. But the matte white came out with mostly the same gloss as the racing white because it's painted over the racing white, if I'm totally honest. If I'd done like 2 coats of it, probably would have been okay. But I wanted a little bit of color separation. I can see it better probably than the camera can. And then, of course, marked off for red stripe, which up close is a little rough, but from a distance it looks good. As I was pointing out before, you come down to the legs, and you got a little bit of difference there. Red stripe to break that off. You got the white coming across the front. This is painted over the... Actually, that might be the racing. That might be the racing white. It's kind of hard to tell. Anything painted over the yellow, which is what the feet are as well. You can see that the feet stand out a little bit. And that might be because it's a heavier paint job, or because it's painted over yellow. Originally, the feet were solid yellow, and I realized real quick that was not a good look. So I wanted to offset it a little bit, so I hit it with that racing white, wanting to really kind of change it up a bit. Now, one thing that was difficult was painting these little bits here. Same thing with the back of the hands and the nibs there, along with the inside neck part. You're never going to see it, but the neck part of this guy is actually hand painted as well, along with the little nubs on the GN drive. They're all hand painted in my favorite dark gray ever, but on top of the paint that was already there, it actually matches pretty well. And I did mask off for the ankles, so all of this part was painted yellow, and you guys have seen how it separates. So this whole bottom part comes off, and then you've got that. Now, if I really wanted to go there, I was thinking about doing these heels in red, like just the heels. The whole foot in red probably would have stood out a little too much, but doing like just the heels or just a chunk of it in red probably would have been okay. I still have plenty of red, so I could probably mix it up a little bit more. I was thinking about a couple stripes back here on the butt, like maybe right across here, just 1 or 2 little stripes just to break it up, maybe one across here. And I was thinking maybe just right back here at the very bottom edge of this thing, have a little bit of red. And originally I was thinking about doing the ankle guard in white after I painted it yellow. But for the most part, that's it. I really like the color scheme. It's not really what I was planning on doing once I came up with the idea. And the matte white would have been a little bit too much. Though now I look at it, I probably could have done the whole thing in matte white and eliminated the racing white, or done it all in racing white and eliminated the matte white. One way or the other, but I think just the mix of colors toward the yellow isn't really a gloss, it's almost like a semi-gloss, and then you have the matte, and then you've got the better gloss there on the white. But I really do dig it. I think the backpack was actually one of the better things I did. So the way this actually is it is actually a spare crotch. I cut the mount from the crotch and glued it to where the GN drive would go. Very simple solution. So the backpack is totally removable. This thing also kind of reminds me of like a gargoyle or something. So you've got all the extra stuff there. And it is a little stiff. The ankles and stuff are a little bit, not ankles, the elbows, one of those body parts, are a little bit stiff. And I'm going to put them on a stand right quick. And kind of pose it up a little bit, because this guy is still really cool. You can just take the entire butt skirt off. I don't recommend it, but you can. Actually, the hips are rubbing the butt skirt, so it's getting a little bit of yellow paint on the hips, which means that's probably not at the right angle. This shouldn't be hitting. But I really do dig it. And Christian, the guy who brought over the advanced GNX on Monday, was like, dude, you need to do it like Wing Zero and have the weapons shoot out together. I'm like, that's about as close as that's going to come. So he can sort of do that. I guess I should have raised the camera up while I was doing that. There we go. But I guess I can extend the arms a little bit. The shields get in the way of the GN drives, so those are kind of neither here nor there if you're going to hold on to them, but just assume that these are like Mega Busters and want to kill all the things over there, including all its friends. So, yeah. So there's my custom GNX surrounded by all of his predecessors and parts components, basically. The donators of most of what went into him, with the exception of the original Jinx that it is actually constructed of. But I really did enjoy this. It took me not about maybe 2 days, if that, and that includes the custom work, the paint, and all that. The actual custom build part was done the first night. And then the next day, I worked on a whole new GN4-based crotch and hip section. I didn't get around to painting that. I thought the sleeker space look. It was going to have like a ground type mode where the backpack came off, it had a different chest, and it had a different crotch. And it was going to be its ground type mode, and it was going to use these short machine guns. But I didn't get around to finishing that. I mean, I have the pieces, I just never finished it out. I still have paint, so I can probably do it later. So that's it for the one and only Jinx Week from this 00CTOBER. Maybe there'll be a Jinx Week next year, I don't know. There's still actually a few GNXs coming out right now. So we've got at least 2 MG Jinxes, 3 MG Jinxes that we've never looked at, and now at least 2 HGs that have never come out before, which actually are pretty cool in consideration. So maybe those will be something down the line. We'll see. I got really good at building these, not gonna lie. I like the Jinx as a kit, realistically. The first one probably has the most problems. I think the 3 is one of the best ones for balance and stuff like that, but you really got to get in there with paint to fix up the weapons. You got to paint all of them to really get the effect you're going for. The first one here that Miss Shoky did for me, of course, was done with just stickers, which is perfectly fine if you want to go there. But basically, if you get to one of like the striker in the back, basically you're gonna end up with most of the parts to make virtually all of these. You're gonna have some leftovers, and like I showed before, a striker combined with a regular Jinx makes an advanced Jinx. So you can get anywhere. If you get an ogre, like the guy back there, I can't even see him. If you get the ogre, that gives you most of the ability to make a 4 and even parts of a 3. And, you know, if you combine any of these, if you get any of the mainline ones, you can build most of what consists of the others. It's actually very, very cool. So it's a very good thing for kit bashing, much like this. This is a fairly simple kit bash, just using a Dremel, a knife, and some fancy glue, and then going to town with masking. And yeah, here you can actually, with it further back, you can see that that's actually a matte white on the legs. But I'm very proud of that. It's not exactly the color scheme I wanted, but it's close. It's kind of a hot rodish color. I really wanted to go with a yellow because, frankly, yellow is not a color you see on these things. And maybe I'll build a reverse version of it down the line. I'm gonna need another whole standard Jinx to get there. But it might be fun to do it with a Jinx 4. Make a Jinx 4 or GNXS 4. That would be fun. But guys, if you like this custom, if you liked Jinx Week, make sure you give thumbs up on all the videos. There'll be a playlist just for Jinx Week up there in the corner now that it's over, if I remember to do it. And make sure you like and subscribe, do all the things. Check out the Patreon. Also grab you a 00CTOBER 2018 shirt because it features all of the things we've looked at. And we can sit here and spread these guys out a little bit and get a nice overhead shot because it's cool like that. But guys, I will catch you on the next review, which is actually tomorrow. So at this point, we've been non-stop content since last Monday. So check that out, guys, and I'll catch you then. Remember, as always, to keep on building.